This program is powered by AIM Employers Association and Ogletree Deacons, a Feature Group USA production.
Hello, everybody. I'm Phil Brandt, President and CEO of AIM Employers Association. AI-powered coaching apps are growing at nearly 18% a year, according to HTF Marketing Intelligence. So the big question becomes, is AI about to replace coaching, or is it actually amplifying it? Stay tuned. That answer could power you up in 2026. All this and more at This Week at Work.
Welcome to This Week at Work, the only show to pack workplace news, practical HR solutions, and timely insights into every 30-minute episode. From the latest rulings in the courtroom to the strategies unfolding in the boardroom, and from real conversations taking place on the front lines to spotlighting what similar companies are doing about the challenges they face. This Week at Work brings you the conversations that matter most to HR professionals and business leaders like you. Brought to you by AIM Employers Association and Ogletree Deacons, live every Thursday morning. This is your opportunity to connect with their experts and ask your burning questions. So what's keeping you up at night? Let's face it together now on This Week at Work.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to This Week at Work. Bert, how are you? The final podcast before we take a nice holiday break and come back in 2026, and you are looking dapper today.
Thank you, Phil. I appreciate that. I've got real work to do today. Not just
real work. It looks like you're in the real office, and I mean, you're acting like a big boy.
Yeah, try it every now and again. You got to do that.
Your mom would be so proud.
She would be. She would be.
Yeah. We got a great show today. We got Matt Wideman back on the show, one of my favorite people here at AIM. Matt, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. Doing great. Getting excited for the holiday season to start. So
clearly,
like you are.
You're looking festive there, Matt.
Yeah. I got my this is my December 26th Santa. This is what I envision him doing. You know, he's got through all his tasks. He's relaxing, having a beer, chilling. He's been at the gym, getting buff for the next year. And so, yeah.
That's the way I like to think of Santa right there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I like it. I like your festive background there, Matt.
Yeah, I'm wrapping some presents. Got my my Christmas cards getting to go out, so I'm ready.
Well, hey, don't forget mine and Bert's present there. Make sure we get that before it's too late.
Definitely.
Be careful, Phil. You might get a sweater that looks like that.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. So we're going to get back to you in a minute, Matt. We're going to talk about coaching and AI and kind of what's happening as that world is starting to merge together, and some of the pros and cons of that. But Bert, first, are you ready for Lawyer on the Clock?
I'm ready. We're going to have a perfect segue, Phil, from Lawyer on the Clock to Matt's talk today.
All right, I'm looking forward to that. Nick, pull that lever.
Curious about a case that could wreck your workplace? Lucky for you, we have a lawyer on the clock.
So, Phil, we've talked in recent weeks. I think it was on December 8th. We talked about a case where SHRM had gotten sued. And I know a lot of our listeners are members of SHRM. AIM and Ogletree do a lot of work with SHRM around the country. And so when SHRM gets sued in an employment case, it kind of raises the antenna for a lot of people because theoretically you would think SHRM is experts in HR and has a lot of resources who are experts in HR, and so to see SHRM,
they can always call our hotline if they have any questions over there at SHRM. We would be happy to let our hotline services help them.
Well, perhaps they should have, because in the one case that we talked about, they got hit for $11.5 million in this one lawsuit. Yeah, it's a lot of money. Federal jury in Colorado ordered SHRM to pay $11.5 million to a former employee after they found SHRM liable for race discrimination and retaliation. So, we've already talked about that case. We talked about the arguments that were made and SHRM's efforts to exclude evidence from the trial that they are experts in all things HR. and yet they still got hammered in this lawsuit. Well, they get that lawsuit wrapped up, and just on Tuesday this week, SHRM was sued again in Virginia federal court by an applicant who alleged she had a job offer pulled after she sought permission to have a trained service dog accompany her to work. The employee in this case, she's accusing the organization of violating the ADA and the Virginia Human Rights Act because it rescinded an offer for her to work in its product management department after they denied her medical requests. She had accepted a job offer from SHRM in June of 2024. She was supposed to start a couple weeks later. She informed SHRM about her medical condition and her need to bring her service dog to work. The service dog the service dog had been with this woman, the plaintiff, since 2017, and could quickly alert her to dangerous blood glucose levels due to her type 1 diabetes, which enabled her to work safely and avoiding blacking out. And what she alleges in the lawsuit is that instead of engaging in the back and forth interactive process required under the ADA, SHRM withdrew the job offer. And so again, these are just allegations at this point, but it is unfortunate to see SHRM get hit for such a large jury award, and now just literally on the heels of that, they're embroiled in another lawsuit here.
Yeah, that it just raises several points. One, I do recognize, SHRM's a deep pocket, first of all, right? So, and if you're going to sue in this space, there's probably not a better target, than an organization that should know better. In every scenario, you could build that case that they are experts in that space and that they should know better. But at the same time, I think about that and I'm like, did this lady not have her service dog with her during the interview? That's one question that comes to mind for me. And then two, there's so much technology available today to alert you beyond a service dog also as well that may or may not be more effective than a dog. I don't know. But seems like there's a lot of other alternatives, and I don't know how that plays in it, but it does get to the heart of what you always talk about, and we're always talking with our members about, is that interactive process.
Exactly.
Like when we're denying people employment and making decisions on their ability to work from home, hybrid scenarios, whatever that scenario is, it's almost always important to have that interactive process.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the focus of the lawsuit itself. She, according to the lawsuit, says that they sent her a letter rescinding the job offer, but gave no reason why her service dog was unacceptable and asserted no hardship to SHRM or its workers for having the dog present in the workplace. So I think you're exactly right. I think that's what she's really going after is SHRM's failure to engage in the interactive process. And again, I want to point out these are allegations at this point. SHRM is obviously entitled to their defense, and we'll see how that case flushes out. We'll keep the audience apprised of developments on that one.
But it's only a matter of time before someone then gets the job and says, hey, I'm going to bring my optimist to work with me, and let the optimist perform the task for me.
Yes, we know that that's coming. But I think when people start bringing their optimist to work and performing the task for them, they're pretty much advertising to their employer, you don't need me any longer.
You don't need me anymore.
Optimist.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I'm still ready to invest in a fleet of optimists for lease. Yeah.
I like it. All right.
What else you got, Bert?
So real quickly, just kind of talk about just a little bit of a recap from what we saw out of the Department of Labor in the first year of the Trump 2.0 administration here. During the first year of the new administration, the Department of Labor really focused more on departing from Biden and Obama era work rules rather than introducing new ones. So that really kind of means that it was sort of rescinding guidance that you saw under Obama and under Biden. In March, Trump rescinded Biden's 2021 executive order that led to a final rule that increased the minimum wage for federal contractors to $15 per hour. So he rescinded that one almost right away in May. The Department of Labor said it was going to stop enforcing the highly contested Biden era final independent contractor rule, which rolled out a 6-prong economic realities test to determine whether workers are independent contractors or employees. That rule had faced several challenges, and some of those challenges are still pending. Earlier this month, the Department of Labor told the Fifth Circuit that it was revisiting the rule, raising the salary threshold to consider employees overtime exempt under the Fair Labor Standards Act. And so what we really have seen is that a lot of these regulatory moves are related to issues that have been going on for quite some period of time, but we're seeing a shift in the direction of the government regarding those rules. And so I think we're likely to continue to see that. In July, the Department of Labor introduced a rule that revisited an Obama-era regulation that involved home care workers. That proposed rule would reconsider and stop enforcing a prohibition on third-party agencies from claiming minimum wage and overtime exemptions under the FLSA for some of those workers. So that was a rule that had gone into effect in 2015. And so, again, the Trump administration is looking to sort of peel that one back as well. So, and I think, we've talked about it so extensively on the program that it's worth noting that in light of the U.S. Supreme Court's nixing of the Chevron deference standard that we've talked about ad nauseum here, that really does breathe new life into the debate over some of these Obama rules that people thought were set in stone, where the courts were basically told to defer to the Department of Labor and the expertise of the Department of Labor. And I think that you're seeing some people emboldened to challenge some of these things that, again, seemed previously set in stone. So I think we're likely to see the Trump administration continue to sort of go back to the way things were pre-Biden, pre-Obama with respect to the Department of Labor.
Yeah. And like we always say on the show, it'd be great if we can just get to that space and then balance out for a period of time and let our employers, gain some momentum and build their workforces, around some stability instead of this pancake flip-flopping, one party, another party, and we don't really know which way to go, and we're trying our best as we go along.
Yeah, that pendulum that we talk about,
Yes.
that swings wildly from one administration to another, and I've said it before, we don't necessarily mean it literally, pretty close to literally, but not literally. We just want to know what the law is, and we want to have them have it stop changing every 4 to 8 years, so that what's legal under one administration doesn't become illegal under another administration.
Absolutely. Yep. Anything else there, Bert?
Yeah, I think people would think we rehearsed the show for hours, Phil, because we have a topic today that's going to segue perfectly into Matt's discussion, and I want to talk about dumbbells for a second, Phil.
Oh no! You said we're going to transition to Matt, and then you say dumbbell. I'm going to just take one. Matt's not a dumbbell.
I know
Matt
he's
is
not.
A very intelligent guy now.
Phil, I didn't call Matt a dumbbell, and I'm surprised that you would try to make that connection.
Well, I just wanted to be clear for all of our listeners. I know Dave Forsey is out there listening, and he likes to jump on us when we allude to things like this.
All right. Not alluding to that at all. I want to talk about what's being described as the dumbbell effect in the economy. And things related to AI and a lot of the job losses that we've been talking about on the program the last several months here. And what this dumbbell effect is it really describes how it really describes AI's effect on the workplace, where it talks about high skill jobs are being boosted by AI and low skill jobs bottom level jobs are being boosted by AI while squeezing out mid-skill roles. And so it produces sort of that dumbbell effect.
I get it
You got
now.
on one end
Okay.
here the lower skilled, lower level jobs that are being boosted. You have the middle level jobs, which are sort of flat, where we're seeing a lot of the layoffs, and then you have the higher level jobs, which are being boosted. And so this dumbbell effect.
The inverse of our bell curve. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and what this talks about is that with AI automating routine tasks, but creating new higher level needs and increasing efficiency, it's leading to displacement, but also creating new roles and demand for AI skills. But it's also at the same time creating the need for those lower level jobs, less skilled jobs that are maybe more manual in nature. And according to one of the articles that I read, the article said that about 11.5% of all jobs in the US right now are susceptible to being replaced by AI today. And so that is a huge, huge number. And I think, as we move toward what we've been talking about on the program, we've got Elon Musk, we've got I forgot his name right now, but the godfather of AI. We have a lot of people out there talking about the fact that at some point work is not going to be necessary for people, that AI is going to be handling everything, combining that with robotics, and people are no longer going to need to work. And the problem with all of that, obviously, is what happens in the meantime until we get there. And if people are no longer going to need to work, and costs of goods and services are going to go down to next to nothing, to the point where you really don't need much of an income any longer. It sounds kind of like a utopia to me. But what happens during that interim period where the jobs are starting to go away, goods and services are still costing money, and people don't have the income to afford those things. And so that's the scary part to me, is sort of that in-between phase. And when you start listening to those numbers, that maybe 11.5% of all jobs in our economy right now are susceptible to being replaced today by AI, that's frightening.
It scares the heck out of you when you think about what that means and the systemic effect of that as you unroll it. But that's another topic. But I'm glad that you are starting to buy into the risk of it versus, oh, this isn't going to happen, because no matter at what level it happens, it's going to happen to some level. And that's where, we talk with our business leaders and friends about, how are we thinking about our workforce and workplace of the future to compete, not because we want this to happen, but because this is going to be the right choice financially for organizations to make these decisions. And it's not that we don't like the people we work with, or we want to replace them, but it's going to kind of be, well, to compete, you're going to have to do this. So it's about learning at this stage of the game for sure.
Yeah, and to try to bring it full circle before we kick it over to Matt. So one of the things you're hearing the Trump administration talking about pretty extensively these days is rolling out a national standard on AI. What you're seeing right now is you're seeing states kind of piecemealing AI laws and how AI can be used in those states. And the Trump administration is saying you can't allow that, because you can't have a state like California stifling AI while other states around the country are promoting laws that foster AI development. Because, like you said, Phil, it's coming one way or another. And I think the problem is given the global economy and the sort of the global interaction between different countries, if the United States doesn't lead in this, other countries will. And if other countries get an advantage over the United States in AI, that has bigger implications for the future of the entire country versus just the displacement of any one job. And
it's the new Cold War.
It is.
Quite, and then when you listen to the experts talk about it, this is the new Cold War. This is going to shape the next 100 years and the axis of power and so forth as we go forward.
I think you're right on that, Phil. And you know what? I think since we have some time on December 25th and on New Year's, since we're off those weeks, maybe we could get Nick just to play the movie Terminator while we're off and enjoying our holidays. And we could see what the future of the world's going to look like if AI runs amok.
I don't know if we can live stream Terminator and not get in trouble.
Probably.
Well, let's sell ads so that way if we get in trouble, at least we make money.
Yeah. Anything else there, Bert?
No, I think talking about all of this AI stuff, that really allows us to pivot over to Matt and talk about AI's effect on coaching.
All right, I agree. Let's first kick it off and hear a message from AAIM's Amy Hart, speaking of AI.
All right, it's time to check in with the eyes and ears of AIM and everyone's favorite AI-driven HR advisor. Amy, take it away.
Thanks, producer Nick. Here's what's happening at AIM this week and why it matters, according to Amy. If developing stronger leaders is on your 2026 agenda, now's the time to lock in your spot for AIM's Key to Leadership Success series, live online coaching sessions launching in February. We're starting with the foundations of effective leadership on February 5th, followed by communicating effectively as a leader on the 12th. And that's especially timely because a new workforce report out this week shows that 70% of employees say the quality of leadership directly affects their decision to stay or leave. So if you're seeing turnover or disengagement, leadership development isn't optional. It's essential. Spots are limited, so if you've got leaders who could benefit, now's the time to get them registered. All right, so that's what's new, what's next, and what matters. All according to Amy.
All right, you gotta like Amy Hart there. Bert, does Amy remind you of anyone?
The fact that she has the same name as my wife, the fact that her last name starts with an H, Hart, and my wife's maiden name started with an H. She resembles my wife a little bit, and she almost sounds like my wife a little bit. I'm getting a little freaked out on the show here, Phil, every time I hear and see Amy Hart.
Well, it wasn't done intentionally, but as you're seeing these love contracts now that must exist between humans and AIs. It's getting ridiculous. You just stay focused on home and let us worry about Amy Hart.
Thank you, Phil.
All right, Nick, you got something special for us as we head into Nick's topic?
I do. We actually bringing back a segment that we haven't had in a little bit, so let me just kick it off real quick and we'll come back to it. Here we go. Sometimes in HR, you just can't make this stuff up. But even if we did, it's still funny. Welcome to Philburt's Forum. All right, so we have a little cartoon here, and you may recognize a few of the characters in here once we get to it, but for those listening in their car, it's a little comic strip. It's Philburt's Forum is back, of course. So we have a frantic HR specialist, HR Holly, and she says, oh no, this new study shows younger workers are asking AI for advice first instead of their direct supervisors. And you got a direct supervisor there with tons of papers stacked up, and you have urgent emails on his laptop there. And then he says, oh goodness, that sounds great. And then you have Bert and Phil peeking around the corner saying, looks like AI assistance is the new coffee break, Bert. And Bert says, more time for me to prepare for lawyer on the clock. There you go.
Yeah. Bert does look a little bit like Ryan Reynolds in that, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah.
Maybe Deadpool without the mask?
No, that's good. Good stuff. And that's just a great lead into our guest today, Matt Wideman. As I mentioned, Matt leads all of our training, development, coaching, and does such a good job for us here at AAIM. He's done that for the last, I guess, 5 years now, been running this department. And we're so lucky to have him on our team. And I know our members love working with him. But Matt, let's just kick it off. And I know we're talking a lot about coaching and roundtables and across the AIM organization this month. And I know one of the questions that often gets asked is, when do we start this coaching process? Like, where does it start? Why don't we let's kick it off from there?
Sure. Yeah, I would say that, coaching in terms of a skill is essential for leaders at all levels of organization, and it should start from the very beginning. We talked a little bit about that. This is the topic we're talking in our roundtables all month. In asking the participants, when should this coaching should start is really at the very beginning of onboarding, right? As soon as people come into the organization, and where we focus on onboarding is, well, how do you incorporate onboarding into coaching? Is kind of sharing that information with a new employee or with a new people leader of the things that they should know about the organization that maybe aren't in your handbook, right? They know, the policies and the procedures and things like that, but what is our culture like? What do we prefer to do? How do we prefer our forms of communication? How do we, interact with each other? What is our, is it more of a casual organization of culture? Those are coaching conversations we can have at the very beginning to help that person get integrated a lot quicker.
Yeah. And the thing that happens, like coaching is something that we all talk about. We expect that everyone knows how to do it. Mm-hmm. And really sometimes one of my most impactful things I've heard a sports person say. So I think of Brett Hall, who played for the St. Louis Blues and, was our all-time leading scorer. I mean, the guy was phenomenal at scoring goals, right? One of the world's best ever in that. And he's often asked about coaching and why doesn't he coach? And his response is just perfect. He says, "Oh, I would be a horrible coach." He goes, "I don't understand why everyone doesn't score 50 goals, right?" It's like there's a barrier to coaching, and not everyone can be a good coach. And sometimes our very best performers are not going to be our best coaches. Let's talk a little bit around the barriers to becoming a good coach. What are some of those barriers that we deal with?
Yeah, I think the one is the number one is just their lack of ability, not necessarily lack of ability, but lack of comfort because their lack of knowledge of how to coach effectively. They don't know where to start. They don't know how to plan that conversation. They don't know the appropriate types of feedback. How do I have this conversation? Typically the most avoided conversation is that difficult one, right? It's a lot easier to say somebody did a good job if we remember to do that. That's the key. We got to remember to give people kudos. But that difficult conversation, everybody avoids that. It's icky, it's yucky, it's uncomfortable. But the only way you're going to get better at that is through repetition, through planning. And those are the kind of things that helps provide someone the benefit of being a better coach is to do it better. I always say, being a better coach, being a better leader, being a better provider of feedback is not like riding a bike. You're not going to get on it, and once you learn it, you're good at it, and you can do it every time. It's more like public speaking. The more you do it, the better you get, the more comfortable you are.
Yeah, and that is for sure. And I've seen that work firsthand. And you mentioned something there. You talked about planning, right? Like there's coaching where we instantly are like, hey, I got to intervene right now. I don't have time to plan. But a lot of times we have time to plan. And planning is a crucial element to that. And complementing the planning is the training as well. So talk to me a little bit about where does training meet coaching?
Yep. So coaching and training can work hand in hand, and I always highly recommend that the coaching is used to complement the training. If in a perfect world, we'll have everyone go through a formalized training class to be a better communicator, to understand their role as a leader, to understand how to coach better, and we can give you tips and tricks on that in our training classes. So those are all provided. But that coaching piece where you're providing additional support to fill in those gaps. Follow-up conversations following a training is essential and really kind of puts the icing on the cake. And in terms of how does AI fit in that, that's something that we're not talking about AI replacing that person to provide feedback. We're talking about AI to help the person who is to be giving the feedback get better at it.
All right. So slow down right there and talk to me about what that means. So help
Sure.
our listeners understand what you're referring to.
Yep. So prime example, we have some conversations this week at our roundtables where we had an HR leader who said, I have somebody that comes to my door almost every week and says, can we do some role playing? Because I need to give some difficult feedback. I need to give some corrective coaching. I need to help one of my team members be better. And so the HR leader wants to take time and devote that to provide that role play. The AI can now serve as that helper of having those conversations. You can work with your AI to develop that conversation to help that leader have that conversation with AI and role play and expand that capacity of what that HR person can do, because there's only so many HR people, right? And they only have so many hours of the day. So how do we integrate AI into helping support that prep, not the execution of the coaching?
Yeah, no, that's I think that's a good example, and that sounds or feels very strange to some people, right? And I know the more that you interact with AI, and there's several ways to do that, and we talk about it, such as you can type your question in and you can read your response. The way that I find it to be most effective for me, for Phil Brandt, is engaging actually in a verbal conversation with the AI, and where it can interrupt, I can ask questions, it can ask me questions, it can role play. It's a very very powerful tool to use, and I agree, it doesn't replace the coaching,
Right.
And that's a great example for that.
Yeah. We're definitely not thinking of, like you said, purchasing a bunch of Optimus robots and say, this is now our coaching, fleet. They're going to send them out and they're going to do the coaching to the employees. That's not the mode to move forward here. It's how do we enhance our skills of our human people leaders by using AI to make sure we have enough capacity to do that.
Matt, you're crushing Phil's dreams here with his, telling him what his fleet of Optimus robots can't do.
Hey, I got to tell you, it's going to be unlimited. These things are going to be left to the imagination, and whether you like it or not. And again, I'm just trying to embrace something that is very different from whatever, it's just a dream, something we saw in movies back in the 80s that is starting to happen. And it is concerning, but I'm trying my best to embrace it. A little bit like working from home. I don't like working from home, but I'm embracing it.
Phil, if you don't mind, I'd appreciate, for our audience's sake, if you would stop talking about embracing your Optimus robot, okay?
Yeah. See, now you're just misinterpreting that, but I take the coaching, Bert. I got it. Okay. Thank you for that coaching. All right, Matt. So what can people do now in preparing for 2026? What might we do?
Yeah, I would say, the key thing there is to make sure that your people leaders are comfortable with prepping themselves for that coaching conversation. So preparing them by providing some simple coaching models. There's a lot of samples out there that you can say, this is how you develop a coaching conversation. They should be doing that before they have those conversations with their employees. That's a sit down, kind of map out what that conversation could go through and what should be covered, making sure they're staying very objective on those coaching talking points, things like that. But that's all the prep that they really need to do, whether it's on their own or whether they're using that AI to help them prep for that conversation. But there's a lot of tools out there, and if you craft the right prompts, that AI can really help them level up their ability to have that conversation once it's live, once they're with that human.
Yeah, and I would suggest go straight to AAIME Hart. And jump into a session with Amy, and she is constantly being trained and developed to help our members and our non-members move their businesses forward. She's complementary part of what we do here at AIM for our community of employers. You can check the link here, and Amy is just a great resource. She is actually one of the top custom chat GPTs in the HR space globally. She's a fantastic resource, and give it a try and shoot us a note. Let us know how that goes for you. Anything else you would add, Matt, before we go?
Yeah, I think one thing that everybody's concerned about is privacy and what should the guidelines be around how I use AI in a responsible, safe manner. Clearly, if you're prepping and using your AI, it should be used in a responsible way, keeping the conversation generic. So, for example, I shouldn't go into my AI and type in, Phil Brandt is the CEO of AIM, and I need to talk to him about his being on time, right? Keep it general, keep it generic, right? I need to talk to this employee who's having a difficult time showing up on time for work,
Right.
Keeping it broad in that sense. So,
Yeah, those are all things that we always cover about the being generic and careful about what we put into any AI, unless your business has given you authority to do something differently.
Right.
Fantastic advice, Matt. I love the holiday festive theme that you're wearing. I like the idea that Santa's partying on the 26th. That's my birthday. So I always like to play a little bit of that role. But it's a great holiday shirt. What do you got there, Nick, that you're putting on the screen there? This is your
just a little
happy
fun with
holiday.
one of our
This is your
guests here.
Christmas card, Matt?
that was my Christmas card. I have hanging out with Snoop there, and Martha Stewart's, having a seat there on Santa's lap to tell me what she wants for Christmas.
Yeah, you look a little taller in that photo than you do in real life. I like it. Yeah.
I wish.
And Martha Stewart's looking a little younger than she does in real life.
This is
Yeah.
1980s Martha Stewart, maybe.
And Snoop
Like I said,
Dogg
I'm
is
pretty
looking
sure in
like
the
he always
factory.
does.
Yeah, in the factory,
Yeah.
you do have to pay extra for wrinkles. So I think that's where that comes from.
That was a
All right.
cost-cutting measure, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, before we go, Nick, producer Nick, you brought back a feature that we used to use during our COVID podcast days. You want to introduce that? And I know we have a message or two maybe as part of that.
Yeah. So we're take some voice message questions or comments again, like we used to. So that's available. You can see up there on the player here. You can see there's a QR code, or you can go to a web address there. And if you're watching live on the This Week at Work platform, there's a couple buttons on the right where you type in your question. You can also click the button there and get straight to that. And for you guys, we have one that has come in already, and we're going to go ahead and play that for you right now if you'd like.
Let's hear it.
Hey, Phil and Bert, this is Dave Forsey, your favorite nemesis. I was just wondering, does Amy Hart get to work from home? And if so, does this upset her coworkers? Thanks a lot. Have a good holiday. I'll be back on your hair in 2026. Thanks.
I love it.
That's
I love it, Dave.
I'm glad that you added that back to the show, Nick, because those were always fun and a great way for people to leave a little bit more detail than they can in a quick text. And Dave is probably our first listener, and he might be our last listener if we ever came to an end. But he's a great fan. He's always interacting. But let me just tell you, Dave, because when we introduced Amy, there's some real benefits to Amy. Amy works 24/7, 7 days a week. She works every holiday. She never takes sick time, FMLA, or PTO. She is a work machine. She works from wherever we are at. We carry her with us everywhere we go, and she's available to everyone, not just one person. So Amy Hart, I will stack her up against almost anyone at this point from a work ethic standpoint. But that's a great question, Dave. Great question.
So what about Dave's second part of the question? How do her coworkers feel about Amy Hart getting to work from home, getting to work everywhere, never taking a day off? She's making everyone else look bad, Phil.
Yeah, well, our coworkers who work from home are okay with it. The coworkers that are in the office every day, like myself, we're just taking her with us wherever we go. But it's a good program. I'd say check out Amy Hart. Dave, thank you for queuing that up for us. It was not planned. It's awesome. I hope you and all of our listeners have a very, very happy holiday season, happy new year. And we look really forward to coming back here after the first of the year. We're going to take a little time off ourselves. Matt, thank you for being on the show and helping us close out 2025. Producer Nick and the team there at Feature Group always does a great job, and I'm so thankful to be partnered with them. And Bert, it always goes without saying, you're a great friend, a great co-host, and I know our members appreciate having you because they tell me about it on the program all the time. So thank you for being such a big part of our program and our AIM family. I wish everyone a happy holiday, and over the holidays, let's go out and be good to somebody. Take care.
Thank you once again for tuning in to This Week at Work. If you enjoy the show, please like it, share it, and make sure it's on your calendar every week. Ask your burning questions anytime and let us know what topics you'd like us to cover. Just go to hrask.org and be sure to leave a review wherever you catch our show to help other HR pros find us as well. We'll see you next week when we discuss what's happening this week at work.